Welcome to All Things Covered with Patrick Peterson and Bryant McFadden, part of the CBS Sports Podcast Network. The name says it all. Today's episode is sponsored by Sonos Arc, the premium smart soundbar for TV, movies, music, gaming, and more. Stay tuned for additional details about Sonos Arc later in today's show.
We're going to have an opportunity to chop it up with Mac. Obviously, we just got the news of Coach Bobby Bowden passing away. You had an opportunity to play with Coach Bowden. I got a 3-part question for you. First one is, what did Coach mean for you and the state, Florida State, the university? Also, much bigger than that, what did Coach Bowden mean to college football? And do you have any stories that stand out to you that you can share with us?
Oh, no question. I got quite a few stories, but I'll say that for last. But what did Coach Bowden mean to Florida State? He meant everything. At one point in time, Florida State was an all-girls school. Football was not even thought about during those times. And then eventually, they got into the football world, and they struggled, was inconsistent. And when Bobby became the head coach at Florida State was not a relevant football university. Florida State was not a consistent university, Pat P. And many people don't remember that because, for most folks, they only remember Florida State winning championships, being competitive, being relevant. But once upon a time, Florida State was the opposite. And when Bobby took over, he just established a culture, a winning culture, a culture filled of confidence, a culture filled was all about hard work, outworking your opponent. And he was the foundation for that. He laid the foundation down. He was the architect in getting that foundation built. And now you talk about one of the well-recognized brand in football, not just college football, but in football. And he started that. So he means everything when you're talking about Florida State football. What did he mean to college football? One of the more dominating coaches to ever do it. And right now, when you talk college football, you may start and stop that conversation with Nick Saban, who we had on the show during the season, right? And we all know how dominant Nick Saban has been at Alabama. Heck, Pat, you played against Nick Saban. Nick Saban recruited both of us. You know what I mean? But before Nick Saban, Bobby was the guy. Right. You know what I'm saying? When Bobby came to your high school, everything stopped. It was like he was just walking on air. Everyone was like mesmerized about seeing a living legend, similar to how it is, I would imagine, when Nick Saban is walking through these hallways nowadays. Yeah. But when you look at what Florida State was able to do, some impressive numbers and talking about what he meant to college football from 1987, Pat P, to the year 2000, Florida State, they have the most consecutive top 5 finishes in the AP poll. 14 straight seasons finishing top 5 from 87 to 2000. The most consecutive 10-win seasons. Still currently, they hold that record in football, college football history from 87 to 2000. 14 straight seasons finishing with double-digit wins. He just dominated. And once upon a time, they were independent. And then when they got into the ACC, they just took over the ACC like it was free money. I mean, they just took it. And he just dominated from the recruiting standpoint. He dominated on the football field. And in those years that I mentioned, you remember who also was relevant in those years? Miami.
Yeah.
Florida. All in state.
Yep.
All in state. But it was just something about Bobby that excellence was something that you had to achieve. There was no other option. And that's who he was when it comes to college football. And last question you had for me, funny story. I tell this story all the time. So I think it was my sophomore year, was getting ready for North Carolina and Doak Campbell. So just like most, football powerhouse, you have, endorsement deals. For us, it was Nike was our shoe endorser. Right. We had everything Nike. And Bobby did not want players covering the Nike swoosh. He wanted to be visible. Right. And the only way you can spat your shoes, which is putting tape on your cleats if you had an ankle injury. Mm-hmm. And the trainer said, you know what, coach, we got to tape him up this week. His ankle's messed up. So Pat, you know, I used to try to look good. You look good, you feel good, you play good. You know what Prime says. Right. So that particular ball game, I'm like, man, we got 3:30 North Carolina on ABC. Man, I'm in there starting. I'm taping up. Mm-hmm. Screw all that. I'm taping up. So I'm taping up. I'm if I got to spat myself, I'm taping up. I had a trainer spat me up. Felt good about myself. So instantly I'm like, man, I'm about to have a heck of a ball game. Interception, right. 3 PBUs, like 5 tackles, forced fumble, went off, and we won. So that Tuesday practice, full padded practice, Coach B broke everyone down on his golf cart. So we was getting ready to go to the defense side, offense go to offense side. He always called me McFadden. He never said BMac or Bryant. He like, McFadden. So we about to break it down. So I'm getting ready to go to Coach Andrews. I hear someone say, McFadden, come here for a second. Like, dang. So I'm thinking he about to congratulate me on balling out. Like, yeah, I got like, that week I got like 10 extra tomahawks, you know what I mean, on my helmet. He's like, did you spat your shoes? So in my mind, I'm like, if he asking the question, he already know the answer. And he didn't tolerate lying, right? So I'm like, I can't lie. I got to be real. I'm like, yeah, coach, I spat my shoes. He said, well, why did you spat your shoes, McFadden? You know, we get a lot of money from Nike. A lot of money. They want to see the swoosh. They want to see the check. You can't spat your shoes. Why did you spat your shoes? I'm like, coach, I ain't gonna lie to you, coach, man. I just wanted to look good, man. I just wanted to feel good about how my uniform was fitting on me. Well, Mac, you can't do that. You can't do that. You weren't injured. They didn't have you on the injury report. You can't do that. Well, I'm sorry. I'm like, well, sorry. He's like, feet. Like, feet. I look behind him.
Like, he wants you to start chopping the thing.
Yeah, but I'm like, feet. I'm like, coach, you talking about feet. I'm like, what? He said, feet. Didn't I say feet, McFadden, feet? I'm like, feet. What you want? He said, move your feet. So I'm chopping my feet in place. So then he hit me with the belly. Like, what you mean belly? Like what is coach? What you
up down, man?
He's so old school. I know, but we all know up downs as up down, right. Up down. He's like feet belly. I'm like, coach, what do you mean? He said belly, get down. So now you mean up down. So I'm like, oh man, this man about to give me some up down. He feet bellied me 5 times. 5 times.
5 times.
He gave me 5 up downs. In my mind, like, coach, you really wasted my time. Like, this is what we doing? He gave me 5 up downs. He said, all right, now, McFadden, this week, I need you to go get me that ball. Go get me the ball again. But you better not have no tape on your shoes. He sent me off. I ran up. I'm like, coach, really? 5 up downs? Like, what is that going to do to me? Like, you know, I'm used to doing 50, 100, at least 25. He gave me feet belly 5 times. 5 feet bellies.
That's great. Hey, I got not a funny story, but I mean, I guess it can be kind of funny. You know, when the coach is able to come to your houses and stuff on the home visit. So Coach Bowden came down, and Coach Peanut Butter. I can't remember his first name, but you know who I'm talking. D-line coach
Odell. Coach Higgins.
Yeah, Coach Peanut Butter. So yeah, they call me Coach Peanut Butter around here, young fella. So that's when I first met him. So he was always Coach Peanut Butter to me. So anyway, they come down to the house, and my mom used to make that hot banana pudding for him. Man, we gave Bobby that hot banana pudding. Man, he almost fell out of his chair, dog. He said, "Who taught you how to make this?" You know how you talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a story I got of Coach Bowden, man.
Y'all fed Big B some pudding.
Yeah, man. What a pleasure it was to have him recruit me, and like you said, just have a living legend in the house, and just to even speak more on his resume. Coached Florida State for 34 years, second most players in college football, won 12 ACC championships and 2 national championships. In the College Hall of Fame, also coached 2 Heisman winners, and Ward and my man Chris Winkie. Chris Winkie. And so RIP to Coach Bobby, man.
No question.
You did a lot to not only to all your players' lives, but to a lot of college football, to the college football world. We appreciate everything that you ever done for us.
No doubt.
Bobby.
Go Noles. You guys know what time it is. It's time to crank up the car right now. Let's get it going. It's time to get rolling, baby. Crank up the car. put them horses and let's rock and roll. It's SKOL Check-In time. Football is here. Stop playing around. Football is here. Pat told you guys in the intro, we got our first preseason action last week with Pittsburgh, Dallas in the Hall of Fame game. I mean, it felt so good just to be able to watch the game. See you guys get out on the grass, see fans in the stands. Football is here for the Minnesota Vikings. Second week of camp is in the books, including the first practice at U.S. Bank Stadium. Before we jump into SKOL Check-In, Pat, how did it feel for you? That was your first time playing as a Viking in U.S. Bank Stadium. How did it feel to be in the stadium, to have fans in the stadium? Man, your new home, how did it feel to you?
It felt good. The best part was when they did the SKOL chant.
They did it.
Man, it was probably about maybe 10,000 people in there, but that thing was rocking, Mac. Man, that right there got my juice hot. I mean, my blood hot for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to be in there. Obviously, have an opportunity to try to track some balls in the stadium. And the lighting are different in every stadium. So, I'm probably definitely not wearing a visor at the home game for sure.
So break it down to our listeners and viewers that are watching us. When you say the lighting, how could that impact you if you were to wear a visor based on your experience practicing in the stadium?
Yeah, it's just tough trying to track the ball. I'm a guy that likes to track the ball, not really play through the receivers to try to force people. I'm looking to intercept the pass for the most part, especially if it's a deep ball, a ball that's in the air for a long period of time. So it's just tough when you obviously guarding a guy and having to look back for the ball. And with most DBs that have good ball skills, 9 times out of 10 you have the right time to kind of look back for the ball and track it down. Mm-hmm. And like right when they get to that point, it's almost when you end up looking back for the ball, and it just get lost up there, man. It gets lost up there, especially with the shield. It adds like another glare to your vision a little bit. So, I definitely need my 2015 vision at its best when it's time to track the ball in the bank.
No question. The fans were there. Like you said, it was around 5,000 fans, if I'm not mistaken. Defense came away with a pick six. DJ had a pick six in that particular practice. Some other news, though, a few practices ago, Justin Jefferson had an injury, shoulder injury. It's nothing serious, but, it was a scary moment during practice. How relieved were you to see Justin, get up and know that injury is nothing serious?
Yeah, you hate to see, your 5-star player go down the way he did in the pain, but got up and said he'll be all right. So, once you got that, that validation from him, kind of ease you a little bit, just continue doing the necessary treatment and rehab so you can get back out there on the field with us and get this thing rolling.
Yep. Jeff Gladney officially released, first rounder from 2020. He hasn't been with the team since his arrest in April. So you guys were used to participating without him. You added some depth at the cornerback position as well, bringing in Brashard Breeland. So it's news, but clearly you guys were accustomed in participating without him. The first preseason game is coming up. It's this week. Remember, there's only 3 preseason games this year. The NFL did away with 1, so it's only 3 preseason games. How much do you expect to play? What do you expect to learn from mostly the young guys as preseason gets ready to is about to start?
Yeah, I really don't know what the playing time situation is. Obviously Coach Zim and Eric Sugarman and all those guys, Rick Spielman, all those guys have, their timelines, and guys really want to see out there in action. I'm just really intrigued to see how the young guys going to react under the lights. Like my shout out to my boy Coach Ross used to always have this saying, I seen bright lights kill a man before.
Yeah. Them lights can snatch your confidence away from you being careful.
I seen bright lights kill a man before. So, it's always intriguing to see how the young guys gonna perform under the lights. Under a little pressure. Jobs on the line. position on the team is on the line. So it's always fun to see how those guys react under pressure.
Yep.
But just seeing how guys go out there and compete for the most part, compete and just see, what we need and who can help us on this long journey that we're about to have. That's the main thing.
Yep.
It's just seeing who can compete, seeing who can play under the lights, and who can help us, fill this 53-man roster to help us win the North.
You know what? Home this Saturday against the Denver Broncos. One player that I'm excited to see play, a guy who has really capitalized on opportunities, and that's Jake Browning. He's been playing pretty good football for you guys in camp. Yeah. I would say he's having a pretty good camp so far. I'm really excited to see exactly what he's able to do in game action, because you talk about trying to shake up some things at a particular position. He's one of those players that have been benefited from opportunities. You know what I mean? At the position when you had a few guys missing some time because of COVID and things like that. But Jake has been playing some pretty good football. Yeah. So, I think, the momentum that he currently has, is a guy that, could take that momentum into this upcoming preseason ball game and keep going in the right direction. Right. Looking like he could, he's trying to fight for a backup role, over Kellen Mond, who was a third rounder, if I'm not mistaken. But, Jake has taken advantage of the opportunity. So I'm really excited to see what he could do throughout preseason. Yo, Pat P.
What up?
All things listeners and viewers. Man, we got a new segment for you guys called Raising the Bar, sponsored by Sonos Arc, where we want to talk about players who have the potential, right? The potential to raise their game to the next level. Young players, not players like Pat P, future Hall of Famers, players that are already established. We're talking about young guys. They have the potential to raise their game to the next level. And the player that fits this category for today's episode, Antoine Winfield Jr., Super Bowl champion, second-year player from the University of Minnesota. I was extremely high on him coming out of Minnesota. He's a football player. He started all 16 ball games last year as a rookie, played in 97% of the snaps, 1 interception, 6 PBUs, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 3 sacks, 94 tackles. He was a member of the NFL All-Rookie team. The reason why I believe Mr. Winfield Jr. is the ideal player for this category, for this segment, is because of the growth, the love of the game. He loves football, and he plays with that love week in and week out, and he's always around the football. He's a disruptive player. He's in the ideal system under your former DC and Todd Bowles. And one thing we know about Coach Bowles, he understands and he knows how to utilize talented safeties, working with Tyrann Mathieu, Roy Williams when he was there in Dallas with the Jets, Jamal Adams. He understands and know how to put these guys in unique situations to be successful. And I believe year 2 for Antoine Winfield, man, he's going to raise his game to a whole nother level. And you've worked closely with Todd Bowles. And what have you seen from Todd Bowles when it comes to being hands-on, just not with the secondary guys, but specifically the safeties?
Man, Coach, he played the position. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, that's big time, Pat P. Yeah, that's big time.
It is. So he, safeties are, especially like the really, really good ones, they're technically the quarterback of the defense. You know what I mean? The Mike backers obviously, make the call and get the front line up. But if your back end ain't right, it's going to be a long season. So, you know what I mean? He understands not only how to put the safeties in position, but everybody in general. He understands every level of the positions on the football field, as far as, knowing what the D-line needs to look like, knowing what linebackers he likes, because obviously, he like to run a lot of fire zones. So you need, faster backers than usual, not those, back in the day, 6'4", 230. You're not looking for those anymore. So and on the back end, you can just look at every safety that he had and held in the past 8 years that he's been able to work with and take their game to the next level, like you spoke about with Tyrann and Jamal. Mm-hmm. I think he had actually he wasn't there when we got Buddha, but Rock was with us.
Yep.
Kevin Ross was with us when we had Buddha. But Jamal Adams, the list goes on, and now add Antoine to his resume is just going to continue to speak volumes. So I definitely agree with you on this raising the bar star that we pick.
Yes, sir.
Because Antoine, very, like you said, very instinctive player, knows the game, understand the game. Coming from the Winfield family tree. Dad played at a very high level as well. So, you can tell he's one of those guys that soaked the game up when he was growing up. So it's beautiful to watch these young guys come into the game with the knowledge that they're able to capture even before they get to the big league. So I don't expect nothing less from Antoine, but nothing but more success.
No question. And that's why he is the raising the bar player for this particular segment. Shout out to Sonos Arc. Big time segment. We will give it to you weekly. Pat P, I promised earlier I'll tell the listeners and viewers more about Sonos Arc. And that time has come, my friend. I got the Sonos Arc. I put it down here in my basement, or my man cave, as I like to call it. So it fits in real nice. It's super easy to set up with the Sonos app. They have this thing called True Play Tuning, which allows me to optimize the sound based on the acoustics of this room. You got to have your acoustics on point, my guy. I use my Sonos Arc for a bunch of different things, but one of the main ones is to stream music. And Pat P, I know you love music as well. And here's a little secret I got for you. Before we record All Things Covered, I like to get fired up. I like to feel like I'm getting ready to get into a stadium, because this is our stadium right here. This is our sanctuary. You feel me? No questions. I got to get fired up. So I like to get in the zone with some tunes. Yo, Jadakiss was already a big time artist in my playlist, but he's been in my rotation heavy after he just put up Wilt Chamberlain-like numbers in the most recent verses. Shout out to Kiss Man, Jadakiss. So he's heavy in my playlist. So I got Jadakiss flowing. Some of our former guests that we've had on our show, I got to show them love. Master P, if you bout it, then you bout it. Then you bout it. Well, then you bout it. I got P. I got, of course, Fabulous. We had Fabulous on the show as well. I got to put some Fabulous on there. So they're perfect. The perfect rap artists to get me fired up, to be able to deliver quality content to our listeners and our viewers. But I also can go to the new school as well, Pat P. And you always keep me up to date on some of the new school talent. Shout out to Lil Baby. I know you rock heavy with Lil Baby. I got Lil Baby in my playlist bumping through my Sonos as well.
You got Kodak in the playlist, man. I hope you got Kodak.
I got Kodak as well. I got to go represent for the home team, state of Florida, stand up, Sunshine State. So my Sonos down here, my man cave has it. It's bumping. The clarity is so clear. I mean, when you listen to it, you can hear it. It feels like it's in you. That's how clear the sound is. It makes me feel like I'm back in the locker room, and you know how the speakers be bumping in the locker room. That's how I feel.
You can't even hear yourself think.
No question. Matter of fact, as you see, I got the locker right behind me. It feels like I'm actually in the locker room and I'm getting fired up. So I'm telling you guys right now, man, it fills the room with this. It's a crazy, impressive sound, wall to wall, floor to ceiling. So thanks to Sonos Arc for getting me in the right mind frame to deliver our awesome content on a weekly basis. I definitely recommend for everyone to go to Sonos.com to learn more. Peace.
Get the Arc.
Now it's time for Around the League. Here's where we tap into everything that's associated with the NFL. This past weekend was a huge, monumental weekend. Celebration. A celebration. Mm-hmm. Hall of Fame weekend reaction. Pat P, you grew up watching the Hall of Fame weekend. I know you currently still watch the weekend, especially if you're not practicing, watching film. What do you think about when you watch the Hall of Fame weekend, when you see clips from the ceremony each year in Canton?
Man, the crazy thing about it just gets. I won't really say surreal, but it just gets better and better each year, because now the guys that I actually had an opportunity to be on the field with are going in now. Like, one of my biggest matchups that I had in my career was one of the Calvin Johnson, 4 times in my career. Seeing Charles Woodson play, having an opportunity to play against Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? I think I'm on the same field with Troy. You know what I mean? You guys played us in Arizona in 2012, I believe, somewhere along that time. So, it gets that much more exciting now because, like I said, I have an opportunity to see the guys who I actually was on the field against, going to the Hall now. So it's a beautiful thing each and every year. But now that it's guys that I actually was able to study, who I was able actually to see film and watch them move on a year-to-year basis and seeing how they improve their game on a year-to-year basis is just that much more. It means that much more to me now.
Yeah, and speaking of Calvin, once again during his Hall of Fame interviews, he mentioned you as one of the toughest corners he's ever gone against. That's
man.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate appreciation. Yeah. Megatron. Like Megatron, when you talk about everyone that has covered Megatron, he mentioned Pat Pete. So that's huge.
Yeah, that's big, man.
They got to make you feel real good.
Yeah, I do, man. I took those I didn't take those challenges lightly. And like I always say, that's how you be remembered, by taking on those challenges, not being afraid to fail. You know what I mean? Because if you are afraid to fail, you're in the wrong business because you are going to fail sometimes.
It's going to happen.
It's all about how you deal with it, going forward. And, and there was a battle having the opportunity to study for him because I think we had this story before when we was talking about Coach Horton wanted to do that vice coverage. I'm like, Coach, we ain't doing that, man. I understand Calvin is a freak of nature. I get that. But Coach, he ain't play nobody like me yet. If I'm having trouble, then I give you the green light to call I forgot what they named the damn play, but that fight, I was like, you'll have the liberty to play that then. But other than that, just let me play ball.
No question.
Then after the game, oh, Patrick, I like your confidence, young guy.
Hey,
it just walked off.
Star was born.
Yes, indeed. So, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of Troy, I see obviously you got the Troy Hall of Fame jersey on. How was that? Were you there?
No question.
Oh, man. Tell me about what happened, man. Talk to me.
Man, listen. Football heaven is what I call Canton, Ohio around this time. This is where individuals get into football heaven. So Friday, they had the jacket ceremony. So I've been to the hall before, but I was still playing. So the team, we went to support Dick LeBeau when he got into the hall, but we didn't get a chance to experience all the activities, festivities they have. So Friday was the gold jacket ceremony. Pat. So all the former Hall of Famers, they are there to welcome the new guys as they get their jacket. Right. Man, so just hearing some of the iconic, legendary names that I grew up watching get their name called out to be able to welcome the new inductees was a thing of beauty. I mean, I was like, it was Christmas for me. You know what I'm saying? And it just got me fired up because granted, I would never get an opportunity to go into the hall, but I went into the hall because players that I played with and rock with, they're there. I feel like I'm there as well. You know what I mean? And all the guys that were there to support all the Steelers. By the way, we had 5 get in. 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cowher, Tomlin, Shell, Faneca, one of the best scouts to ever do it. Bill Nunn. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we had 5.
Still Nation showed out too now.
Oh, no. Shit. It turned into our party.
Hey, they stood up now. I'll tell you that, boy. Jesus Christ.
Hey, man, it turned into our party. Pat P was like, man, and it was a great weekend, arguably the best class because they combined 2 classes because last year, remember the pandemic, they have nobody go in. But man, let me tell you, man, that experience was a surreal moment. Just being able to support Bill Cowher, who drafted me, who we also have had on the show as well. You know, being able to hear him give his speech and know exactly what he's talking about. Being able to support Troy, who I played in the secondary with. You talked about being on the same field. We all respected his craft. We all respected his work ethic. Just hearing the things that we all live by in Pittsburgh become, you know, public information. It just was a thing of beauty when you talk about Troy, getting in. I think I mistakenly said Tomlin. Tomlin will get in eventually sometime, but we know Bill Cowher, Mike, Troy Polamalu, Alan Fanning, Big Red. We used to call Big Red, who went to LSU.
Yeah.
Big Red, big Alan Faneca, you know what I mean? And the unique thing was Saturday, we had a party. Steelers did a big time, Pat P. Oh, we had a party, man. We partied like it was 1999, man. Ooh, we shindig all night long. Man,
baby. What Joey Porter was doing, man?
Man, my guy Peasy was there. We had Peasy. The gang was back together. You know how we used to get together when we boo-rayed. Boo-rayed. Them boys smoked cigars. Them boys drank up all the wine, all the alcohol, the Patron, the Hennessy, the bourbon. Huh?
C-Hope gang?
C-Hope was there. Big Hamp was there. Casey Hampton was there. Man, the band was back together, man.
The band was back, man.
Man, we tore up Canton, and Steeler Nation showed out. They showed out. If you guys go back and if you did watch, you saw how many Steeler fans were there in the stadium. Man, that's what it's all about. The appreciation. And like I said, everyone will have the luxury of actually going in as an individual. But when you go in, your teammates go in as well. It's a part of being being a part of a brotherhood. You know what I mean? And it's funny, while I was sitting there on the front row, man, all my teammates together, I said, you know what, my guy Pat P, at some point in time, should get this opportunity right here.
Yeah, man.
This is what it's all about. And for guys that are still participating, Pat P, and you still in the league, I'm done. I would never play in the NFL ever again. Man, use that as motivation.
Oh, yeah. It's always.
That's the goal. Be great. Become legendary. You got an opportunity to continue to write, add to your resume. Man, make that resume as long as a fresh roll of toilet paper, man. You know them fresh roll of toilet papers are super long.
Especially that Charmin.
No question. Don't get that cheap brand that they have at the airport. You don't want that cheap brand. You want to get no. You don't get that cheap brand. You gotta get that Charmin. That super thick roll. You better continue to add to that resume like a fresh roll of toilet paper. Stop playing around. Yeah. That should get everybody, because they got me fired up. And that's a unique thing. When we all got back together and we just was vibing and socializing, we said, man, it brought chills to my body. Like, when we older now, we like, man, listen, man, if I can go out there one more time and leave it all online, I would knock myself out for y'all. That's how much we rock. And I got a chance to see Dick LeBeau, the legendary Hall of Fame Dick LeBeau. And the first thing he told me, Pat P, he said, keep your eyes out of the backfield. He said, didn't I tell you to keep your eyes out of the backfield, McFadden? I told you, BMac, they're going to hit you with a play action. They're going to give you that zone play action. Keep your eyes out of the backfield. Stay low and slide. Man, I said, Coach, I told you, I'm sorry. I was like, my bad. Hey, he said, keep your eyes out of the backfield. But, man, Dick LeBeau, man, so many. It's just an unbelievable experience, man. Canton is something that if you love football, go check it out. Yeah. Just go experience, you know what I mean, as a fan, whoever the case may be. So, hey, add to your resume, Pat P. Hey, you control it.
That's the goal, baby.
You control it. And other news in the NFL, Josh Allen. Boy, if you play quarterback, that money's different.
Oh, yeah. Very.
Agrees to a massive extension, 6-year deal, value over $258 million. He received $150 million in total guarantees. 100 is fully guaranteed. So he signed his name, Josh Allen. He instantly, in 24 hours span, got $100 million delivered to him. Both are the highest in NFL history. He will average $43 million per year. Thoughts on that deal, Pat P?
Hey, man. I mean, I think, quarterbacks hard to find, as you know. They don't fall off the tree.
They don't.
And he's a good one. I think he has the potential to be, really have a really, really successful future. His arm is as big as they come. I know some people may question his decision making, but that's going to come with time. I think he's going into his fourth year now. So now he's seen a lot of ball. He understands, the position that he's in. He don't always have to be a hero. You don't always have to go out there and throw for 500-600 yards. Just play within yourself. Don't turn the ball over, and put points on the board. I think he's well deserving of the deal. Like I said, most quarterbacks, you're not going to find many quarterbacks in this league in the draft. And when you got one, you want to keep them.
You better.
I think he's definitely one of those guys that's good enough to keep.
No question. I mean, Sean McDermott is a much better coach with Josh Allen than without Josh Allen. And I think the organization, they understand that, and they gave him a handsome ransom. Boy, for $43 million. That man got $100 million signed his name out the gate. Yeah. And he's going to see another deal. Deserving.
Now you're going to see a couple.
No question. And then now you got to look at who's next. Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, all those guys are tied to the hip. You know what I mean? So we're going to see exactly who's up next. But right now, it's Mr. Josh Allen time. He is the Mr. right now. In other news, when you have training camp, you usually have fights. A big-time brawl broke out in the Giants training camp that had Daniel Jones at the bottom of the pile. I don't know how he ended up at the bottom of the pile, but he was. Evan Ingram retaliated a late hit on Corey Clement. Logan Ryan came at Ingram. The rest of the team jumped in. Joe Judge cursed everybody out, punished them with 200-yard sprints and push-ups. Wow. Now, that's what you call discipline right there. Right. Joe Judge, he said, listen, there are a lot of different ways to approach things in terms of fights. My policy has been to get guys and get them out of practice. So that happened. It involved the entire team. I threw the entire team out of practice. We had more ball to go. We had 2 more periods of practice. We had things to accomplish. Those were things that robbed us of an opportunity to keep preparing and rob players of reps to go out and compete. Have you ever been involved in the training camp scuffle?
Like when you say a scuffle, you mean like the whole team or just one player?
Oh, no, it could be one player.
Oh yeah, we've seen those. You see, like you said, you see at least one of those every camp.
You've been personally involved in a scuffle?
No, I don't have time for that crap.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm 9 times 10. I'm out there on the edge, man, running up and down.
Yeah, you're not around the traffic.
Exactly. That's where it happens in the traffic.
In the traffic.
Somebody felt like somebody pushed them in the back or had their hands on the face mask too long. It's just that's when the fights start to happen in the trenches. Yeah,
you talking about the trenches too, with the Rams and the Cowboys joint practices. I saw Williams got into it with Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that's typical.
Some people you just leave them alone. You don't even just leave that alone. Like really,
leave that man alone.
No question. But that's a part of the culture. Training camps, we have these joint practices sometimes, and when you just have inter-squad scrimmages, you will get tempers will arise, and that's what happens sometimes. It is what it is.